Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy to see you. Happy Sunday. Yeah. You are now tuned in to Planetary HQ, the planetary headquarters for all of your celestial information. And you know me, Dedrick Baker, at XDBakeTheWise on Instagram. Go follow me. And today, we're talking about... What are we talking about? What are we talking about? We talking about the theory of evolution. We need to speak our truth, yeah. That's for sure. Flying in the stars, that's for sure. There and back, yeah, you know. Feel the chakra in my throat, you know. And we trying to uplift everybody. Celestial bodies. Yeah, just doing a little freestyling, having fun on this intro. Welcome. Today we are talking about the overcontrol of evolution. Have ETs influenced us in our past? Have they had their grubby little fingers all over the process of evolution? Is becoming modern man evolved all the way from monkeys, apes, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, all the way up to Homo sapiens sapien? Is that part of the process that the ETs use to get us to this current state? So I'm excited to talk about it today. It's a hot topic. It's been on my mind for a while. It's been on the mind of a lot of people for a while. Scientists, archaeologists, anthropologists, everybody. They're all asking the question, what are we? Who are we? Where do we come from? Who did we come from? And were there any exterior sources that had an influence on this process? Most people know the theory of evolution, Darwinism. The single cell evolves up into modern man. This is backed by modern science. It's in the archaeological record. It's verified. It has a lot of controversy in some circles, specifically referring to, I guess, more of the Judeo-Christian community, who kind of believe that the Earth's only 6,000 years. Not everybody believes that. Okay, I'm not saying all of Christians and all of Catholics, everybody believes that. But, you know, the young Earth creationists. For some reason, there is a divide between religion and science, and I don't understand this. I think that they're fully compatible with each other. I believe, and we believe here at Planetary Headquarters, that evolution is the way God creates humanity. And I think it's a beautiful process. Think about it. It's just a barren planet with nothing on the surface, just space, just empty space, maybe jungles and water and rocks. Then out of nowhere, humans pop up, me and you. You just give it time and something appears. Bipedal hominids appear. You get humans with the internet, YouTube, cameras, parties, monuments, all these different social events and social things that we do spawn out of thin air. And to me, that's beauty. It's like taking a blank canvas, and God and the creators are using that canvas to create something beautiful. And then you get us. We appear on the face of the planet. So that to me is magical. That's the hand of God. So evolution, in my book, doesn't discount God. It's just the process that God uses to create humanity. And it's a natural process. Nature is also beyond planet Earth. Nature is the cosmos itself. So whatever templates and geometric patterns that you find in the images that nature produces are cosmic patterns, cosmic templates. And we're going to get into that more, a la the theory of panspermia, a theory that the people who discovered DNA, the double helix structure of our human body, the part of the body that codes the rest of the body on what to do, your actual DNA. The people who discovered that, Watson and Crick, they were huge proponents of panspermia, and even wrote papers that went even farther into the woo and said that it wasn't just panspermia. It was directed panspermia. We'll get into that later. For those who don't know, panspermia is the concept that the first cell that started evolution, that kickstarted all of evolution, hitched a ride on a meteor or a comet. So that is the theory of panspermia. Watson and Crick were proponents of it, and we're going to actually look at one of their papers in a bit, and we'll dissect it because they say some wild stuff. So directed panspermia. But yeah, these are all questions that everybody has been asking since the beginning of time. How did humans get here? And these images that nature generates seem to be somewhat of a cosmic derivative. And if that is the case, and if NHI are present, as we see in the current congressional hearings, all of the current disclosure, Stephen Greer, all my YouTube homies, Chris Ramsey on Area 52, Jesse Michaels over at American Alchemy, UAP Gerb, killing it, dude. I love that Aztec video you just dropped. That was sick. Ashton Forbes, pushing the ball forward in the disclosure movement. So sick. All the homies out there, shout out to you guys. Everybody who is actually coming together and trying to get this message forward. We see with all this evidence that the NHI, non-human intelligence, is real, and they are here today. So if they've been here, or if they are here today, have they been here throughout our past? And have they been here since before man was even evolved out of the evolutionary struggle? So that's something we're going to dive into, something that a lot of smart minds, like, I'm not just talking out of my ass, something that other people have been talking about, like I said, such as the people who discovered the DNA helix. So what's up, everybody? What's going on, chat? Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you guys. Let's see here. So we are going to jump into, obviously, one of our personal favorites here, the Urantia book, the Urantia contacts, or the Urantia papers. They have a couple different names, but it pretty much is a celestial contact that happened in the early 1900s. I consider it one of the best kept secrets around. If you haven't read it yet, go read it, or just go keep watching the other videos on the channel. We reference it a lot. And just like all of the other cool celestial contact cases, we're about to go over a UFO contact from planet Yarga, which has some really cool technical schematics of UFOs from a supposed contact case. There's a bunch of them, and in order to get a good worldview, you have to synthesize them all. You have to read them all. You can't just like ask AI to give you an overview. You have to actually sit down and read it page by page. Read them all, and once you read them all, you have a bunch of different data points to harmonize your mental geometry, and that matrix that you're, or that lens that you're looking for, you can start to see what the truth is, and you can sift through the bullshit and the distortions. So this is one of the texts that I highly recommend, called the Urantia book. So paper 65, the Overcontrol of Evolution, and we're going to jump right into it. But before we do, hit that like button if you can, help get the video to the front page so we can get this information out there. The quicker we do that, the quicker the planet will change. And if you are a new subscriber, look at that, I'm telling the future, I'm Nostradamus over here. If you're a new viewer, you will be a new subscriber. I trust you that. Stay tuned for the episode, and by the end, I promise you, you will want to rub against that subscribe button. I will remind you before the end too, so don't trip about that. But we can just short circuit and time travel, bring the future to now, and just press the subscribe button right now. So we're going to have a little fun doing it. I like reading these deep truths, taking it serious, but not, for lack of better words, having a stick up my butt the entire time. I like to mix it in with some comedy and some crude jokes. So forgive me if I say some stupid stuff, but I guess some people like it. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Paper 65, the Overcontrol of Evolution. Basic evolutionary material life, pre-mind life. Whoops. Basic evolutionary material life, pre-mind life, is the formulation of the master physical controllers and the life impartation ministry of the 7 master spirits in conjunction with the active ministration of the ordained life carriers. As a result of the coordinate function of this threefold creativity, there develops organismal physical capacity for mind. material mechanisms for intelligent reaction to external environmental stimuli, and later on, internal stimuli. Influences taking origin in the organismal mind itself. Okay, so that was a little bit of a mouthful. You got the concept, what they're talking about. I love how they're giving you that celestial point of view. They're saying we're trying to develop creatures that aren't only capable of reacting to external stimuli from the environment. They want creatures that can also react to internal stimuli. So that internal, we like to call it your internal color screen, aka your mind or your mental geometry, that holographic matrix that you can influence at will, that you can change and recalibrate at will. That light picture in your mind, they're trying to generate one of those from the biological substratum. So that's a very interesting point to I guess just keep in the back of your mind. They're also mentioning 3 different celestial organizations that work together for this. So it's not just one ET race that's behind evolution. There is multiple ET species and multiple ET groups that work in harmony. They're very advanced. Most of them are spiritual. They're not physical races. They're like interdimensional, ultra-dimensional beings. They exist in a higher dimension. If I could put an analogy, it's like when you go to sleep and you look down and kind of see your astral body, that dimension is made of a substance. I might refer to that substance as Urantia substance, but whatever. Let's say that's the next dimension, the astral realm. Some of those beings, their natural state is that dimension, while we exist in this denser dimension. But they are, for the most part, in charge of most of the celestial governments, and they are the ones who are coordinating these life implantation processes. So there's 3 different types. They say, always keep in the back of your mind triosophy. We talk about it. 3s, thinking in 3s. The mind, the body, and the spirit. That's the individual triad. But now let's think about the cosmic triad. The Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, or the Father, Son, the Mother Spirit. I'll say it interchangeably. I guess you can kind of classify all of the extraterrestrials in the entire universe under these 3 different categories. What source do they hail from? What is their cosmic, genetic, spiritual lineage, I guess you would say? Some beings come from the 3rd source, the Mother Spirit or the Holy Spirit. Some people come from the 2nd source, the Son, like Jesus came directly from the Sun. He just, whoop, came out of the source. He's a super high being, dude. Call him the president of the aliens. Like I said, the first beings who come from the Mother Spirit, those would be your seraphim and your angelic types. And then there's your father beings, and we'll get into that. Those are more of your judges and universe rulers. And we can split that off into different classifications too when it comes to the individual triads. But that's not what this paper is about. It's just saying that there are 3 different organizations. The master physical controllers represent the physical, the body part of the triad. The 7 master spirits represent the mind part of the triad. And then it's talking about the active ministration of the life carriers who give that spiritual spark to create the life. So just different representatives from the different sources and centers. The life carriers would be considered sons. So they'd be from that 2nd source and center. So we have representatives from all 3 sources and centers. You have father representatives, son representatives, and spirit representatives, all working together to create mind, body, spirit beings on planets. And these are all different celestial races, I guess you could say. ET races, call it what you want. All right. Moving ahead. There are then 3 distinct levels of life production and evolution. The physical energy domain, mind capacity production, the mind ministry of the adjutant spirits, impinging upon spirit capacity, and then number 3, the spirit endowment of mortal mind, culminating in thought adjuster bestowal. Okay, I'll get this out of the way right now because this is extremely important. So I was talking to you about the 3 different influences in the cosmos from the Trinity. The trisophic method, thinking of the universe in 3s. Nikola Tesla said, what? The secret of the universe lies in what? 3s, 6s, and 9s? That's trippy, right? So they just said something that we're going to need to know for the rest of the paper. I'm going to explain it really quickly and basically. It's called the adjutant mind spirits. So they say that there's 3 different cosmic Wi-Fis throughout the entire universe. Okay, these 3 cosmic Wi-Fis, think of them in different colors: red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet. Okay, all 7 of the Wi-Fis are a different color. Okay, and then that Wi-Fi band connects to a different part in your spirit. You have different like receptacle nodes for those different Wi-Fi bands, and you would call those your chakras. Okay, those spiritual influences or Wi-Fi bands pervade the universe, and they make contact with planets. Stars are like repeaters for this energy. So stars, when they push their light out, these spiritual influences keep going farther out into deep space. So all planets get contact with them. These Wi-Fi nodes or spiritual energies, they are responsible for, I guess you would say, animal instinct, the different instincts that help animals evolve over time up to man. When man appears, he has that pretty much a perfectly ready instrument to communicate with all these 7 Wi-Fi nodes. It doesn't mean that we're perfected at it yet. You still have to balance your chakras, so to say. You have to traverse the 7 psychic circles. You have to figure out the different energy portals within yourself, the different thought forms that unlock different feelings within yourself. So when these different energies link into you, or they link into animals over time, after billions of years of evolution, finally that instrument appears, aka the man, the Homo sapiens sapien, the bipedal hominid. We appear from that evolutionary struggle, and now we're the instrument that can make contact with all 7 of those adjutant mind spirits, and we can do it in an intelligent way. Part of life is balancing these energies. We'll get into that more later, but I just want you guys to understand what adjutant mind spirits mean in this book. So that's a basic way to think about it. Just think of 7 different Wi-Fi bands that kind of are responsible for animal instinct and different feelings. And then once the 7th appears, the human being appears. What's up, Nebby? What's going on, chat? Joby Cummings, what's going on? Yeah. We're diving in right now, man. We're going hard. Talking about the extraterrestrial theory of evolution. You know, everybody knows about the theory of evolution, but do they know that it was actually created and done and influenced by, I want some dramatic music, dun, 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 the gods? No, extraterrestrials, angels, call them what you want, just higher celestial beings. All right, let's see here. But yeah, seriously, everybody knows the theory of evolution. That's taught in school. It's like the textbook behind all of our belief systems in institutionalized society. But there are a lot of markers. There are a lot of interesting things that pop up along the way, such as a certain gene in our DNA that pops up 37,000 years ago that's responsible for the growth of our brains. I'll pull it up before the end of the stream, and it popped up 37,000 years ago, the exact time when Adam and Eve popped up. And it's like a MCPH gene, like microcephaline gene, I want to say. You can look it up right now. Let's check it out, just to get a little taste on what this is. So to keep it talking, yep, there you go. Look at that. No more, not that much dead space. So this is microcephaline. MCPH1 is a gene that is expressed during fetal brain development. Certain mutations in MCPH1, when homozygous, cause primarily microcephaly, a severely diminished brain. Hence, it has been assumed that variants have a role in brain development. However, in normal individuals, no effect on mental ability or behavior has yet been demonstrated in either this or any other similarity studied in the microcephaly gene. Okay. Where does it say? There it is. A derived form of MCPH1 appeared about 37,000 years ago and has spread to become the most common form of microcephaline throughout the world. This rapid spread suggests a selective sweep. And pretty much this is the gene that makes your brain bigger. If you don't have the microcephaline MCPH1, your brain is a lot smaller, a lot smaller. And, you know, according to this text, who landed 37,000 years ago? Extraterrestrials that came and, you know, hybridized us. And according to that, John Ramirez, who's doing his little podcast rounds, got to get you on the podcast, brother. If you ever watch this, gonna holla at you. He's talking about the highest secret in the deep state, in the DoD, in the Pentagon, that's higher than the extraterrestrial crafts themselves, higher classification than crash retrieval programs, is the fact that they are tracking people who have alien DNA and that we're all hybrids. We are all descendants of these aliens who mated with us in the past. This is the highest classification in the CIA. What's it sound a lot like? Yeah, you guessed it, folks, what we're reading right here. So let's get into it. Just wanted to make that connection to you. The mechanical, non-teachable levels of organismal environmental response are the domains of the physical controllers. The adjutant mind spirits activate and regulate the adaptive or non-mechanical teachable types of mind, those response mechanisms of organisms capable of learning from experience. And as the spirit adjutants thus manipulate mind potentials, so do the life carriers exercise considerable discretionary control over the environmental aspects of evolutionary processes right up to the time of the appearance of human will, the ability to know God, and the power of choosing to worship Him. I have always aligned with Urantia's overall view of evolution with intelligent design, and they cannot function without each other. Exactly, Joby. I'm with you on that one. Shout out to the chat. If you're watching right now, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, little like. Help us get to that front page. It is the integrated functioning of the life carriers, the physical controllers, and the spirit adjutants that conditions the course of organic evolution on the inhabited worlds. And this is why evolution, on Urantia or elsewhere, is always purposeful and never accidental. See, it's not an accident. A lot of people think evolution's an accident, but nope, it's not an accident. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Life carrier functions. Oh, geez, did I just make it small? Sorry, guys. Just make it a little bigger again. Still getting used to the new setup, the new layout. Who got a joke? Okay. A gray alien and a Nordic walked into a bar. He said, hey, you took my... All right, let's keep going. Life carrier functions. The life carriers are endowed with potentials of personality metamorphosis, which but few orders of creatures possess. These sons of the local universe are capable of functioning in 3 diverse phases of being. They ordinarily perform their duties as mid-phase sons, that being the state of their origin. But a life carrier in such a state of existence could not possibly function in the electrochemical domains as a fabricator of physical energies and material particles into units of living existence. Life carriers are able to function and do function on the following 3 levels. The physical level of electrochemistry, the usual mid-phase of quasi-merontial existence, and number 3, the advanced semi-spiritual level. So one thing you guys have to know, there's physical and spiritual, but merontial, or what I said before, the substance of your dreams, that is a intervening phase. So anything before pure spirit levels, which exists at a different sector of the universe, it takes a while to get to that sector. And once you hit that threshold, you'll become fully spirit. But anything in between that is considered Urantia, which is part spirit, part material. It's either 50-50, 60-40, 70-20, and it depends on your spiritual level. So your entire celestial career, I guess, is becoming less physical and more spiritual until you hit that inflection point, that what is it, maximum capacity, that, you know, that breaking point, and then you become fully spiritual. Critical mass, that's what I was looking for. When the life carriers make ready to engage in life implantation, and after they have selected the sites for such an undertaking, they summon the Archangel Commission of Life Carrier Transmutation. This group consists of 10 orders of diverse personalities, including the physical controllers and their associates, and it is presided over by the Chief of Archangels, who acts in this capacity by the mandate of Gabriel and with the permission of the Ancient of Days. When these beings are properly encircuited, they can effect such modifications in the life carriers as will enable them immediately to function on the physical levels of electrochemistry. Okay, that's cool. So it's telling you that that's why they work in pairs of 3, because I guess the life carriers don't normally operate on these divergent levels of universe reality, but because they're with physical controllers who acts on behalf of the Ancient of Days, both father figures, father beings from the first source and center, they are able to modify, like they team up, like with your help, you can like blast me with energy, and then that allows me to operate on this dimension for X amount of time. So it's like they stack personalities that, oh, I can function on this dimension, you can function on that dimension. If we team up, we can cover more ground and we can do more things, you know? That's why you got to team up with the seraphim and your angelic helpers. You know, they work in that dimension, you work in this dimension, you guys go hard. Okay, so after the life patterns have been formulated and the material organizations have been duly completed, the supermaterial forces concerned in life propagation become forthwith active and life is existent. Whereupon the life carriers are immediately returned to their normal mid-phase of personality existence, in which state they can manipulate the living units and maneuver the evolving organisms, even though they are shorn of all ability to organize and create new patterns of living matter. After organic evolution has run a certain course and free will of the human type has appeared in the highest evolving organisms, the life carriers must either leave the planet or take renunciation vows. That is, they must pledge themselves to refrain from all attempts further to influence the course of organic evolution. And when such vows are voluntarily taken by those life carriers who choose to remain on the planet as future advisors to those who shall be entrusted with the fostering of the newly evolved will creatures, there is summoned a commission of 12, presided over by the chief of the evening stars, acting by authority of the system's sovereign and with the permission of Gabriel. And forthwith, these life carriers are transmuted to the third phase of personality existence, the semi-spiritual level of being. And I have functioned on Urantia in this third phase of existence ever since the times of Andon and Fanta. Wow, so I guess the person giving us this paper, the being who made contact back in the early 1900s for this moment in time, was a life carrier. And he just explained that's kind of crazy. So they have a lot of different beings, very strong beings like Gabriel, who have like cosmic mandates to come and change your existence pattern to a different existential state, a different dimension. See, that's a whole different can of worms we ain't even thinking about down here on Earth. We're still thinking about nuts and bolts UFOs, which is cool. You know, I love them too. But look what they're doing, man. We look forward to a time when the universe may be settled in light and life, to a possible fourth stage of being wherein we shall be wholly spiritual. But it has never been revealed to us by what technique we may attain this desirable and advanced state. Interesting. So that's pretty cool. A little insight on it. That was number 1, man. We're going in. We're going deep already. I'm feeling good. How you guys feeling? What's up, everybody? Like I said, if you're watching right now, hit that like button, baby. Ooh. Yeah, mouth's getting a little dry. All right, let's keep it going. The evolutionary panorama. The story of man's descent from seaweed to the lordship of earthly creation is indeed a romance of biologic struggle and mind survival. Man's primordial ancestors were literally the slime and ooze of the ocean bed, in the sluggish and warm water bays and lagoons of the vast shorelines of the ancient inland seas. Those very waters in which the life carriers established the 3 independent life implantations on Urantia. That's pretty gnarly. So there's 3 different places they implanted life on simultaneously. We're going to get back to that in a moment. Now think about that. Think about that. So panspermia, quote unquote, says that the single cell hitched a ride and hit planet Earth in one spot. They're bringing it to the next level with directed panspermia. Beings brought the material, or they brought the life plasm here, and they did it supposedly in 3 different spots on Earth at the same time. Now that's some cosmic science shit right there. You know, if every planet's like a petri dish, if you think about it like that, like a scientific experiment, now that's a gnarly way to do it. All right. Very few species of the early types of marine vegetation that participated in those epochal changes which resulted in the animal-like borderland organisms are in existence today. The sponges are the survivors of one of those early midway types. Those organisms through which the gradual transition from vegetable to the animal took place. These early transition forms, while not identical with modern sponges, were much like them. They were true borderline organisms, neither vegetable nor animal, but they eventually led to the development of the true animal forms of life. The bacteria, simple vegetable organisms of a very primitive nature, are very little changed from the early dawn of life. They even exhibit a degree of retrogression in their parasitic behavior. Many of the fungi also represent a retrograde movement in evolution, being plants which have lost their chlorophyll-making ability and have become more or less parasitic. The majority of the disease-causing bacteria and their auxiliary virus bodies really belong to this group of renegade parasitic fungi. During the intervening ages, all of the vast kingdom of plant life has evolved from ancestors from which the bacteria have also descended. Okay. The higher protozoan type of animal life soon appeared, and appeared suddenly. And from these far distant times, the amoeba, the typical single-celled organism, has come on down but little modified. He disports himself today much as he did when he was last and greatest achievement in life evolution. He disports himself today much as he did when he was the last and greatest achievement in life evolution. This minute creature and his protozoan cousins are to the animal creation what bacteria are to the plant kingdom. They represent the survival of the first early evolutionary steps in life differentiation, together with failure of subsequent development. Interesting. And that failure of subsequent development is italicized. Something we should be aware of, that just because it exists doesn't mean it's like, the template pattern. It could also represent the fact that it still exists in its state, means that it was a failure of subsequent development. Before long, the early single-celled animal types associated themselves in communities, first on the plan of the volvox, and presently along the lines of the hydra and jellyfish. Still later, there evolved the starfish, stone lilies, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, centipedes, insects, spiders, crustaceans, and the closely related groups of earthworms and leeches, soon followed by the mollusks, the oyster, octopus, and snail. Hundreds upon hundreds of species intervened and perished. Mention is only made of those which survived the long struggle. Such non-progressive specimens, together with the later appearing fish family, today represent the stationary types of early and lower animals, branches of the tree of life which failed to progress. The stage was thus set for the appearance of the first backboned animals, the fishes. From this fish family, there sprang 2 unique modifications, the frog and the salamander. And it was the frog which began the series of progressive differentiations in animal life that finally culminated in man himself. Wow. We're nothing but a little bit of frog people, man. The frog is one of the earliest of surviving human race ancestors, but it also failed to progress, persisting today much as in those remote times. The frog is the only species ancestor of the early dawn races now living on the face of the earth. The human race has no surviving ancestry between the frog and the Eskimo. Wow, that's wild. The frogs give rise to the reptilia, a great animal family which is virtually extinct, but which, before passing out of existence, gave origin to the whole bird family and the numerous orders of mammals. So that's kind of wild. So yeah, this book supposedly came out like from 1911 to 1933. That took them that 196 different contacts, 196 different transmissions, and it happened over a set of years, and it ended in 1933. And they're talking about birds being dinosaurs back then. That's kind of a lot earlier than what we've been talking about it now. That only kind of hit mainstream the past, 15, 20 years. So, I'm not saying it's like, a stamp, this is true from the aliens. I'm just saying it's a little data point to put on the wall, All right. Probably the greatest single leap of all pre-human evolution was executed when the reptile became a bird. The bird types of today, eagles, ducks, pigeons, and ostriches, all descended from the enormous reptiles of long, long ago. The kingdom of reptiles, descended from the frog family, is today represented by 4 surviving divisions. 2 non-progressive, snakes and lizards, together with their cousins, alligators and turtles. 1 partially progressive, the bird family, and the 4th, the ancestors of the mammals and the direct line of descendant of the human species. But though long departed, the massiveness of the passing reptilia found echo in the elephant and mastodon, while their peculiar forms were perpetuated in the leaping kangaroos. Only 14 phyla have appeared on Urantia, the fishes being the last, and no new classes have developed since birds and mammals. That's Trippy's giving a full rundown over here, man. What's up? Heck yeah, Nebby. I'm glad you enjoy it. You know me, just riffing and raffing over here. Riff raffing, man. Got that boysenberry. About to pull up in that pomegranate peach thing. Yeah, no, we're just hanging out, bro. Having fun. Got to get you on the podcast soon, dog. But it's kind of cool just thinking about the different types of races, the different types of, I hate certain races. No, I'm talking about celestial races, you crazies. The different type of cosmic races and cosmic beings who, have a hand in this evolutionary topic. So let's do it. Oh, let's do it. Hey. It was, and that's cool. It's talking about literally every step when the single cell organism evolving up to what we are today. And I guess that's a kind of a good little, actually, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'll bring it up later. I got Crick's paper, directed panspermia, right here. We're gonna dive into too, man. It's so trippy. He talks about, it's like he read the Urantia book or something, dude. But we'll get into that in a second. He backs all this up. It's wild. And he discovered the human DNA, the human genome, the double helix, guys. It's not just me talking crazy with a tinfoil hat on my YouTube channel, dog. The homie who discovered the double helix DNA is talking about directed panspermia. And wait till you see what the paper says. You're going to be like, oh, Lord. It's real. Is it real? You know what I'm saying? Hell no. Nope. Never that. That's right. We got a soundboard now, people. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. What's up, chat? What's up, chat? All right. All right. It was from Agile. It's 100% real. You're 100% real, dude. You're 100% real. How about this one? Yeah, for real, dog. It's a UFO for real. All right. It was from an agile little reptilian dinosaur of carnivorous habits, but having a comparatively large brain that the placental mammals suddenly sprang. These mammals developed rapidly and in many different ways, not only giving rise to the common modern varieties, but also evolving into a marine type, such as whales and seals, and into air navigators like the bat family. Man thus evolved from the higher mammals, derived principally from the western implantation of life in the ancient east-west sheltered seas. The eastern and central groups of living organisms were early progressing favorably toward the attainment of pre-human levels of animal existence. But as the ages passed, the eastern focus of life emplacement failed to attain the satisfactory level of intelligent pre-human status, having suffered such repeated and irretrievable losses of its highest types of germplasm that it was forever shorn of the power to rehabilitate human potentialities. Okay, that's wild right there. So they're talking about how the 3 different life implantation zones, that one of the 3 didn't contribute as much. Because of a bunch of, I guess, they were losing their higher types due to the evolutionary struggle. There's too many tigers out there ripping the heads off their evolutionary ancestor, that 1/3 of the life implantation did not contribute much, and that was the western implantation, I guess. The eastern and central groups were the ones that actually contributed the most to the human species that we know of today. So let's keep it rolling. Keep rolling. It's making sense to you guys? This is crazy. Sound crazy? Because I don't care. All right. And that's perfect. Remember that. Remember the 3 different implantation zones, because that's going to line up a lot with what it's going to illuminate what this paper that Crick wrote. My nigga Crits. All right. Since the quality of mind capacity for development in this eastern group was so definitely inferior to that of the other 2 groups, the life carriers, with the consent of their superiors, so manipulated the environment as further to circumscribe these inferior pre-human strains of evolving life. Wow. To all outward appearances, the elimination of these inferior groups of creatures was accidental, but in reality, it was altogether purposeful. Damn, son. That's crazy. Okay, so I'm guessing like those, those sheltered ecosystems, like, I'm not saying these are part of it, but they could be. Think of like, Madagascar, Australia, all those like really, what would be the correct term? Secluded ecosystems, sheltered habitats, all those places where the flora and fauna developed in a unique way that doesn't look similar to the rest of the world. I'm guessing those are from that 3rd life implantation zone. That's just my hypothesis. I'm not sure on that. Someone, you can check me out. You can check me on that. Some Urantia book readers like, actually. But yeah, so moving along. That's crazy. So it says that actually, because that 3rd one was not showing good characteristics of contributing to the life plasm, the angels secluded them. They used some, I don't know, anti-gravity forces to make sure that they stayed in this zone, maybe like a mountainous region. And it said it looked accidental, but because they were killing themselves off, but they kind of just sat there and said, you stay in this corner. You're not going to contribute to the other 2 because they're nice and you have degenerate strains. And they kind of let them just kind of die off. Kind of sounds like that Madagascar in Australia kind of thing, huh? It's an interesting take. Just putting two and two together right now. Coming at you live, Planetary HQ. And just to let you know, boys, we do got some shirts. Go check them out. The link is in the description. We got a lot of different colors. Every time you buy a shirt, it helps us out. Only 30 bucks. Costs 21 bucks to manufacture. We only get a $9 profit. And all of that money is going towards getting a Mind Body Spirit app so that you can track your Mind Body Spirit progress and link up with other people so that you guys can grow together. It's going to be sick, dude. So go check out them shirts. We got a commercial coming up pretty soon. How long have we been going for? We've been going for an hour. Yeah, I think we got a commercial break coming up in 15 minutes. So you guys can check out the shirts then. I got some sick stuff. You can check out my commercial I made. Also, we dropped a reel this morning. Shout out to Desiree Pittman. She is an angelic soul blesser, an energy worker, energy healer. We dropped a reel on the channel today. She gave me my first soul blessing and it changed my life. I'm not even talking like, oh my God. And I'm not even trying to be like, yeah, she's my friend, so go check her out. But it was sick, man. You know, I'm really not with the woo, but I felt like magnetic. Okay, I'll put it like this. You know, when I don't know if you guys have ever like got a tuning fork hit and then they like put it around your body and you feel it kind of like magnify whatever you feel, the vibrations going up and down your body, and you feel it with your eyes closed. You're like, whoa, that's what it felt like, but like different, stronger, and less mechanical and more like emotional. And she did it. Yeah, so go check it out. Go check out that reel. Go check out Desiree Pittman. You can go check out her website if you need an energy healing, and the link is in the description of that reel. So yo, shout out to Desiree. Shout out to all the homies. So let's keep going. All right. So damn, they killed off that entire single cell evolutionary strata. That's kind of crazy. Or they let them kill themselves. Gets dark up there, man. It gets dark. It's not all love and light sometimes. Sometimes you gotta kill them off to get the ah, shit, here we go. All right. I get it though. It's like a petri dish. You put 3 different implantation zones. You see one start getting weird over here. You're like, you know, let's keep that one away. It makes sense. Okay. Later in the evolutionary unfolding of intelligence, the lemur ancestors of the human species were far more advanced in North America than in other regions, and they were therefore led to migrate from the arena of the Western life implantation over the Bering Land Bridge and down the coast to southwestern Asia, where they continued to evolve and to benefit by the addition of certain strains of the central life group. Wow. Man thus evolved out of certain Western and central life strains, but in the central to near Eastern regions. That's crazy. Okay, so they had 3 different implantation zones. One was in North America. One was in Asia. And one was, they say, is the central life implantation zone. So east, west, and central. The eastern one didn't really work out, right? Yeah. The eastern and focused light field. Yeah, okay, yeah. So the eastern didn't work. Wow, that's crazy. So the lemurs that evolved in North America were the most advanced, and so that was the western implantation zone. And they liked the lemurs so much they caused them to go over to Asia and mix with the central implantation zone. Okay, that's wild. That's wild. So man evolved out of the western, but he evolved in the eastern regions. That's trippy. In this way, the life that was planted on Urantia evolved until the Ice Age, when man himself first appeared and began his eventful planetary career. And this appearance of primitive man on Earth during the Ice Age was not just an accident, it was by design. The rigors and climatic severity of the glacial era were in every way adapted to the purpose of fostering the production of a hardy type of human being with tremendous survival endowment. That's wild. Okay, so they wanted us to grow up in a harsh environment because that would create a hardy survival character. That's wild. That's insane, dude. Makes sense. I mean, hardship, baby. That's why you don't strive away from hardship. What is it? The anterior mito something cortex, part of your brain, AMCC, anterior mid cingulate cortex. The anterior mid cingulate cortex, it's part of your brain that actually grows when you do hard things, when you do hard tasks, when you put yourself through hardships and learn hard lessons. This part of your brain actually grows and you become more resistant and tolerant. Isn't that crazy? So people who just like fold after one hardship or don't want to do anything because it's too hard or freak out and because they can't handle anything, that's because their AMCC, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, isn't developed. Yeah, there's no electromagnetic fields there getting generated. So that, I think they're trying to develop that via environmental stimulation because that produces a more sturdy character for survival. Pretty dope, dude. Pretty dope. That's sick. I can dig it. I can dig it. As the youngsters say, I fuck with it. Part 3. The fostering of evolution. It will hardly be possible to explain to the present day human mind many of the queer and apparently grotesque occurrences of the early evolutionary progress. A purposeful plan was functioning throughout all of these seemingly strange evolutions of living things, but we are not allowed arbitrarily to interfere with the development of the life patterns after they have once been set in operation. Life carriers may employ every possible natural resource and may utilize any and all fortuitous circumstances which will enhance the developmental progress of the life experiment, but we are not permitted mechanically to intervene in or arbitrarily to manipulate the conduct and course of either plant or animal evolution. You have been informed that Urantia mortals evolved by way of primitive frog development, and that this ascending strain, carried in potential in a single frog, narrowly escaped extinction on a certain occasion. But it should not be inferred that the evolution of mankind would have been terminated by an accident at this juncture. At that very moment, we were observing and fostering no less than 1,000 different and remotely situated mutating strains of life which could have been directed into various different patterns of pre-human development. This particular ancestral frog represented our third selection, the 2 prior life strains having perished in spite all of our efforts towards their conservation. Wow. That's wild. That's insane. So yeah, it just shows you that the ETs can monitor planets. They can monitor at will and scan it. And they can kind of like scan it, and let's say they have like a rainbow filter. And based on the color of the energy of that continent, say that continent in the Middle East is giving off red, say that continent in North America is giving off purple, and the advanced evolutionary strain is giving off a certain color. Once they see that color popping up on the planet, they kind of magnify and zoom in. And they're like, okay, this is one of 20 strains of frog that show the evolutionary apex of DNA that we want to keep alive. Let's try to keep it alive. Oh, shit, we just got a call. Damn, number 1 just died. Shit, okay. Now we only have 19. So, they're doing that kind of stuff. And I guess the first 2 on their prospect chart died. So the third frog was the one that got us to where we are today. But it even says that even if that one would have died, there would have been others that would have handled the job. So Shout out to the frogs. Shout out to my frog people. Gang, gang. I fuck with the frogs. Life carriers may employ every possible natural resource and may utilize any and all fortuitous. Oh, I already read that shit. Okay. Even the loss of Andon and Fanta, the first two human beings, before they had offspring, though delaying human evolution, would not have prevented it. Subsequent to the appearance of Andon and Fanton, and before the mutating human potentials of animal life were exhausted, there evolved no less than 7,000 favorable strains which could have achieved some sort of human type of development. And many of these better stocks were subsequently assimilated by the various branches of the expanded human species. Long before the material son and daughter, the biological uplifters, aka Adam and Eve, arrive on the planet, the human potentials of the evolving animal species have been exhausted. This biologic status of animal life is disclosed to the life carriers by the phenomena of the third phase of adjutant spirit mobilization, which automatically occurs concomitantly with the exhaustion of the capacity of all animal life to give origin to the mutant potentials of pre-human individuals. Wow, that's crazy. So those 7 different Wi-Fi nodes, the adjutant mind spirits I was talking about, the 7 different colors of Wi-Fi that go through the universe, the aliens can monitor how much our planet is getting. And once we get like 4 out of the 7, they know that the potentials for pre-human biological generation get exhausted. That's wild. So they can measure those color spectrums and they know, okay, human life's about to get evolved. Oh, it's evolving. And then once it hits that color, okay, no more humans are going to evolve after that. It just shows you how alive the organism of Earth is. Gaia. Mother Earth. Mankind on Urantia must solve its problems of mortal development with the human stocks it has. No more races will evolve from pre-human sources throughout all future time. But this fact does not preclude the possibility of the attainment of vastly higher levels of human development through the intelligent fostering of the evolutionary potential still resident in the mortal races. That which we, the life carriers, do towards fostering and conserving the life strains before the appearance of human will, man must do for himself after such an event and subsequent to our retirement from the active participation in evolution. In a general way, man's evolutionary destiny is in his own hands, and scientific intelligence must sooner or later supersede the random functioning of uncontrolled natural selection and chance survival. Heck yeah. And in discussing the fostering of evolution, it would not be amiss to point out that, in the long future ahead, when you may sometime be attached to a corps of life carriers, you will have abundant and ample opportunity to offer suggestions and make any possible improvements in the plans and technique of life management and transplantation. Be patient. If you have good ideas and if your minds are fertile with better methods of administration for any part of the universal domains, you are certainly going to have an opportunity to present them to your associates and fellow administrators in the ages to come. That is dope right there. So you get an opportunity to actually help make new ways to do things up in the stars. You get to influence celestial administration if you have a good idea. See, if that's not dope, I don't know what is. If that's not good leadership, I do not know what is, dude. So let's check the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the viewers again. Hit that like button if you can, baby. We need to get big funding to budget Adam and Eve's movie saga for show, dog. We're doing that. You already know. You already know. That would be epic. It would be epic. It would be epic. Damn, dude. I think I do hear that weird static that was coming in last time. I think I got some technical difficulties coming in. 1 second, guys. I need your attention, everybody. This just in. The New Jersey drones are now over New York, LA, and every major capital on the face of planet Earth. They keep repeating a message over the 6 gigahertz frequency band, and it keeps saying, Planetary HQ has cosmic garments for your physical mechanism. In other words, we got that drip. Straight from the Galactic Federation wardrobe, these tees vibrate at the frequency of chill. Ribbed lovingly hug your neck chakra, preventing collar droop across dimensions. Tapered shoulders enhance your interstellar silhouette, perfect for Earth missions and beyond. Dual side seams stabilize your style, ensuring your energy stays aligned even when encountering planetary turbulence. Crafted from 100% heirloom combed and ring spun cotton, this featherlight fabric breathes like you're cruising through the astral plane. Ideal for layering beneath your space cloak or relaxing at your Earth base. The tailored retail fit transitions seamlessly from casual Earthling mode to I've got crystals in my pocket and I ain't from here chic, making it essential apparel for your rigorous interdimensional journey. So check out them shirts. We got a bunch of different colors. Link is in the description. Your contributions directly support spiritual operations on the front line in the battle for truth, beauty, and righteousness. With your help, we can help change the face of planet Earth, and we can look fly while doing it. Okay, now that we can fund the Black Budget Anti-Grav program, let's get back to the show. Oh wow, all one off at the same time. That's what's up. We got the music popping again. Hell yeah, that's what's up. Let's keep it going for a bit. Let's see if we can read to it. But we're back. I don't know what happened there. The stream just got cut off. That was weird. People keep trying to sell shirts under my under some like AI clone of me. I don't know what's going on. You gotta pay me for that. I'm just kidding, guys. I'll get a better joke, but go check out the shirts. Go check them out. Got a bunch of different sizes, a bunch of different colors. Like I said, every dollar bill will help us take out one of them fuck boys up top that's manipulating the media, manipulating the masses, and trying to get us farther away from the source, because that's what we're here to do, baby. Here to tear it up, take planet Earth back. So before we dive into this, actually, no, I do want to read some of this Watson and Crick real quick. But before we do that, just take a second to reassess our mind, to get that mental geometry right, to understand that we are cosmic citizens, to understand that we are participating in reality, whether we are conscious of it or not. And the more consciousnesses, the more actors, the more agents that we have in reality working together, the quicker we can change it, okay? That's why I created this channel, and that's why I'm saying it to you, so we can wake up, get activated together, like Neo and Trinity in the Matrix. Bah, 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 bah. So help us get a shirt. Go check it out. So I want to jump into this. The directed panspermia. This is by Crick and Orgel. And as you guys know, obviously, Crick from Watson and Crick, the guy who discovered the double helix pattern. These guys say some far out stuff, dude. It's called directed panspermia. This is one. Crick was at the Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, England. And the guy who helped him write it was L.E. Orgel. He's at the Salk Institute of Biological Studies in San Diego, California, in 1972. It now seems unlikely that extraterrestrial living organisms could have reached the Earth either as spores driven by the radiation pressure from another star, or as living organisms embedded in a meteorite. As an alternative to these 19th century mechanisms, we have considered directed panspermia, the theory that organisms were deliberately transmitted to the Earth by intelligent beings on another planet. We conclude that it is possible that life reached the Earth in this way, but that the scientific evidence is inadequate at the present time to say anything about the probability. We draw attention to the kinds of evidence that might throw additional light on the topic. Trippy, right? Trippy. So he's saying that panspermia isn't even good enough, and that we have to think about directed panspermia, that these single cell organisms didn't hitch a ride on a meteor or didn't fly their way through space. Beings brought them here. So let's keep going. It was not until the middle of the 19th century that Pasteur and Tyndall completed the demonstration that spontaneous generation is not occurring on the Earth nowadays. Darwin and a number of other biologists concluded that life must have evolved here long ago, when conditions were more favorable. A number of scientists, however, drew a quite different conclusion. They supposed that if life does not evolve from terrestrial non-living matter nowadays, it may never have done so. Hence, they argued, life reached the Earth as an infection from another planet. Arrhenius proposed that spores had been driven here by the pressure of the light from the central star of another planetary system. His theory is known as panspermia. Kelvin suggested that the first organism reached the Earth in a meteorite. Neither of these theories is absurd, but both can be subjected to severe criticism. Sagan, or Shklovsky and Sagan and Whitnall, has shown that any type of radiation-resistant spore would receive so large a dose of radiation during its journey to the Earth from another solar system that would be extremely unlikely to remain viable. The probability that sufficient massive objects escape from a solar system and arrive on the planet of another one is considered to be so small that it is unlikely that a single meteorite of extrasolar origin has ever reached the surface of the Earth. Sagan, Private Communication. Oh, wow. These arguments may not be conclusive, but they argue against the infective theories of the origins that life that were proposed in the 19th century. It has also been argued that infective theories of the origins of terrestrial life should be rejected because they do no more than transfer the problem of origins to another planet. This view is mistaken. The historical facts are important in their own right. For all we know, there may be other types of planet on which the origin of life, ab initio, is greatly more probable than on our own. For example, such a planet may possess a mineral or compound of crucial catalytic importance, which is rare on Earth. It is thus important to know whether primitive organisms evolved here or whether they arrived here from somewhere else. Here we re-examine this problem in the light of a more recent biological and astronomical information. So this is trippy right here. So they're over here saying, yeah, straight up, extraterrestrials brought this single cell organism to our planet. I was talking about the, we'll skip this part for now. We're going to read that on a different day. Yeah, that's just talking about the different types of planets that are out there that could possibly harbor life. And we'll skip to the next section to our proposal. The possibility that terrestrial life derives from the deliberate activity of an extraterrestrial society has often been considered in science fiction and more or less lightheartedly in a number of scientific papers. For example, Gold, 1960, has suggested that we may have evolved from the microorganisms inadvertently left behind by some previous visitors from another planet. For example, in their garbage. Here, we wish to examine a very specific form of directed panspermia. Could life have started on Earth as a result of infection by microorganisms sent here deliberately by a technological society on another planet, by means of a special long-range unmanned spaceship? To show that this is not totally implausible, we shall use the theory of detailed cosmic reversibility. If we are capable of infecting an as yet lifeless extrasolar planet, then given that the time was available, another technological society might well have infected our planet when it was still lifeless. The proposed spaceship. The spaceship, wow, that's crazy, dude. The proposed spaceship. That's wild. Real talk, dude. Real talk. That's what I'm trying to say, dude. I'd be trying to tell these people, dude. That's a UFO for real. This is Crick, the guy who discovered DNA, talking about the proposed spaceship. Check this out. The spaceship would carry large samples of a number of microorganisms, each having different but simple nutritional requirements. For example, blue-green algae, which could grow on CO2 and water in sunlight. A payload of 1,000 kilograms might be made up of 10 samples each containing 10 to the 16th microorganisms, or 100 samples each of 10 to the 15 microorganisms. That's wild. I didn't even realize this, but the Keys of Enoch has something that lines up exactly with this. We're going to do a Forbidden Scrolls episode on this paper by itself. I'm not going to read it all today, but when we do, we'll do some cross-comparative analysis. That's amazing right there. That's crazy. The plot thickens. It all starting to line up. It would not be necessary to accelerate the spaceship to extremely high velocities, since its time of arrival would not be important. The radius of our galaxy is about 10 to the 5th light years, so we could infect most planets in the galaxy within 10 to the 8 years by means of a spaceship traveling at only 1,000th of the velocity of light. Several thousand stars are within 100 light years of Earth and could be reached within as little as 1,000,000 years by a spaceship traveling at only 60,000 miles per hour. Wow. Or with 10,000 years if a speed of 1/100th of that of light were possible. The technology required to carry out such an act of interstellar pollution is not available at the present time. However, it seems likely that the improvements in astronomical techniques will permit the location of extrasolar planets within the next few decades. We already got them, big boy. Similarly, the problem of sending spaceships to other stars at velocities low compared with that of light should not prove insoluble once workable nuclear engines are available. This again is likely to be within a few decades. The most difficult problem would be presented by the long flight times. It is not clear how long it would be before we can build components that would survive in space for periods of thousands or millions of years. Although there are some technological problems associated with the distribution of the microorganisms in viable form after a long journey through space, none of them seems insuperable. Some radiation protection could be provided during the journey. Whatever, they literally start going all in on what kind of craft it would be, what kind of motivation they would have, all the different types of, all the technical schematics of everything. What's the biological evidence of this? So as you can see, they're going deep in right now. Watson and Crick, literally very smart people. The creators, not creators, because they didn't create the human DNA, but the discoverers of what the human genome looks like, the double helix pattern. And they're here talking about spaceships bringing the life plasm to Earth. And it's backing up exactly what this extremely complex extraterrestrial contact called the Urantia book is saying. And it's saying it in great depth. So we have hit an hour and a half right here. I think we won't be able to finish this paper. This is going to be a two-part little live stream. I'll get back into it next weekend. I think I'm going to call it here. Tate Chilla couldn't be around us right now because he's at a conference. He's at Full Disclosure Now, so shout out to Full Disclosure Now. We'll see you next year. I couldn't make it. I was a little bit busy. And Magma, he's driving around the country on that vacation. Shout out to Magma Sloth. I know they're listening right now, so. It's been real. I love you guys. What do we got here? We got some words of power. Although it was a little abrupt end, it was fun, man. We got to read that Urantia book. We got to line it up with the Watson and Crick paper, the directed panspermia paper. We're gonna do an entire Forbidden Scrolls episode on that paper alone, so keep it locked. Got some big interviews coming out soon, so keep it locked. Got Area 52's Chris Ramsey. Got a couple more in the pipeline. Hertech, so keep it locked. We're excited. I'm excited. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit the like button already, hit the like button. You check the description, you will find yourself a shirt. Find yourself a shirt. Put it on your body. Fly it through the stars, and they're gonna say you're a human being and you're a hottie because I like your skin, but it ain't really your skin. It's the cloth that you're wearing. The cloth that you're wearing is the cloth that you're wearing. It's like thought that you're wearing. It's the thought that you're glaring. Driving in McLarens through the stars, bringing planet Earth up out there. And I do not need no bodyguards. All I need is seraphim around me. Shout out to the Midways from Cross Galaxy. Having fun, dude. They ain't from Cross Galaxy. They're from planet Earth. Love you guys. XDBakeTheWise on Instagram. Go check it out. Go buy yourself a shirt, man. Just did a little freestyle because I wanted that shirt.